Donald Trump is lobbing a threat directly at the 9 officials who did more than nearly anyone else to investigate and uncover his criminal culpability in an act of domestic terrorism against the United States Capitol. And he's doing it in a way that would make any mob boss proud. In an interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, Trump vowed to flip the justice system upside down. He would pardon the perpetrators, and he pushed to prosecute the investigators. He called special counsel Jack Smith, quote, corrupt, but claimed he'd leave any decision to investigate to his attorney general, which would be Pam Bondi if she's confirmed by the Senate. The biggest target of Trump's wrath in this interview, though, was the members of the January 6th Select Committee themselves. Take a listen.
Now, listen, this was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I can't get... I think those people committed a major crime. Sir. And Cheney was behind it. Well, and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that, it carries weight, though. You know, you've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, even if what he wants, what the boss wants, is made crystal clear in interviews like that. Never mind that it doesn't name any crimes that they allegedly committed. This allegation that they, quote, deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half of, he doesn't finish the sentence, but we assume he means testimony, is unfounded. It's worth noting both his pick for FBI director and his nominee for attorney general are completely aligned with Donald Trump on this. They have said repeatedly that they, too, would like to go after critics of Donald Trump.
When Republicans take back the White House, and we will, because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows. But now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
Members of the January 6th committee, now in Team Trump's crosshairs, show no signs of backing down from the work they did in investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. In a statement, Liz Cheney says this, quote, President-elect Trump again lied about the January 6th Select Committee and said members of the committee, quote, should go to jail for carrying out our constitutional responsibilities. Here is the truth. Donald Trump attempted to overturn the 2020 presidential election and seize power. He mobilized an angry mob and sent them to the U.S. Capitol, where they attacked police officers, invaded the building, and halted the official counting of electoral votes. Trump watched on television as police officers were brutally beaten and the Capitol was assaulted, refusing for hours to tell the mob to leave. This was the worst breach of our Constitution by any president in our nation's history. In a Substack post titled Bring It On, Donald, former GOP Congressman Adam Kinzinger writes this, quote, Donald Trump's latest threat to jail members of the January 6th committee is nothing more than the desperate howl of a man who knows history will regard him with shame. Let me be clear. We did nothing wrong. The January 6th committee's work was driven by facts, the Constitution, and the pursuit of accountability, principles that seem foreign to Trump. Donald, go ahead and try to rewrite history. Use your platform to deflect blame, point fingers, and play the victim. But the evidence speaks louder than your words. History will remember the January 6th committee as defenders of democracy, and you as a man who betrayed it. The truth has been laid bare. The American people have seen the evidence, and no kangaroo court or hollow threats will change that. You may fool some of the people some of the time, but the tide is turning. It just may take a bit. I'm confident that the name Trump will be a stain on our history, and my son will be proud of what I did. So, bring it on. We aren't afraid of the truth, but I suspect you are. Joining our conversation, former lead investigator for the January 6th Select Committee, Tim Hafey, and former Democratic Senator, MSNBC political analyst Claire McCaskill. Andrew Weissman still here. Tim Hafey, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's much like the big lie, Nicole, of alleged election fraud, right? It doesn't become true by repeating it again and again. In this country, we have hopefully still a rule of law and facts matter. And as Mr. Kinzinger and Ms. Cheney have said, there is just nothing whatsoever to substantiate any allegation of misconduct by the January 6th committee. This narrative that stuff was destroyed or hidden is just unfounded. Every single interview in its entirety, but for a handful of national security interviews, which were in the possession of the White House and still exist, were made public and remain available. There's just nothing there, Nicole. So while there may be investigations and questions asked, the underlying facts have to be present for there to be a legal consequence, and they just don't exist here, just like they haven't ever existed with respect to the big lie of election fraud.
Can I play... Actually, let me play what Adam Kinzinger had to say on CNN about, I want to step back and say, even Trump isn't alleging that any crimes were committed. So I want to be careful in repeating the language of the Trump side about throwing people in jail. In this country, so far, you don't go to jail unless you're charged with a crime and then convicted of the crime by a jury of your peers. So again, I don't want to just repeat what they're saying over and over again. But let me play Adam Kinzinger on whether or not the committee members will even be prosecuted.
Are you worried that Donald Trump will try to put you in jail?
No, I have absolutely no worries about this. First off, the executive branch can't go after the legislative branch because we embarrassed him. That's not a sin. That's not against the law. Ultimately, when we talked about him throwing his ketchup and hamburger against the wall, there's nothing illegal about that. And most of the people that testified were actually his Republicans, fellow Republicans that went up and spoke at him. So look, he's all but hurt right now because he was embarrassed. He's not going to come after us, and I'm not worried about it at all.
All right.